Hey everyone, welcome to episode, I believe, 124 of the Live Beyond Average podcast, here with my co-host, Dustin Luebke, post-quarantine.
Yeah, got out.
You're out. I never went in.
I was an essential worker.
Yeah, right. God, nothing makes me more mad than that term. So dumb. But let's not focus on that today. Let's focus on important stuff. We are just sitting down here chatting in my basement. We got the man cave down here, and we were talking a little bit about just some of our own plans for this year. We were talking about preference points that we had, different hunts that we were applying for, and then we kind of started talking about like, dude, I don't know if I want to apply for this, and I don't know if I want to wait to apply for this hunt, like, and I think that's something that isn't talked about a lot between dudes, of all the different things that are going on in life and how you have to plan around them accordingly before you just throw in for hunts.
Yeah.
It's a lot of planning.
Yes.
Especially when you're throwing in multiple states, multiple hunts within states, and then all the preference points, the draw odds, and all of a sudden you're planning with your family's vacations, all this other stuff, work, and man, can be difficult.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot with, and even, like you said, all those things, plus now this year, one of the things that we haven't experienced before is the state borders being closed in some states, and what's non-resident hunting going to look like? Are they limiting the non-resident tags for out-of-state hunters? Mm-hmm. Are they going to allow people from a closed state, to come hunt their state? How that's all going to work, and it's kind of still up in the air for some of them.
It's like all unknowns, basically. We saw some of it for like some of the spring bear and turkey hunts. We saw some states, temporarily, close down the bear hunts and then open them back up as time went on. We saw some, shut off completely. And so, yeah, it's kind of up in the air in some of these states for fall hunting. A few states have come out and were like, no, we're going to be open. Mm-hmm. But yeah, some of it's just up in the air. So it's like, and then, so you're like, okay, what if you have enough points to draw that tag you've been wanting, and it's up in the air? Like, do you want to put in for it and draw that tag and then not know if you're going to be gifted that tag back if you can't go hunting?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, most likely, yeah, they're going to reinstate, your points, whatever, but it's still an unknown. Mm-hmm. And so, are we going to risk it this fall on some of those hunts? So far, I've been risking it. Dustin has not. So you're looking at two different perspectives today. That's what we were, talking the last hour down here. Is I've risked it in most of the states that I've applied for this year, and you're like the exact opposite.
No, not gonna risk it. Scaling back.
Yeah,
just focus on some smaller things.
Yeah.
Spending a little less time doing that, and then kind of picking and choosing where I apply or what I apply for, and then I'm a planner, so
yeah,
I want to know that I'm gonna be able to go and be able to prepare for it, and that I don't want to you get all your hopes up for this hunt and then be like, oh yeah, you can't come, you can't do that one this year, or oh, the border's still closed. I gotta get. My neighbor was gonna go up and do a bear hunt up in Canada this spring. Mm-hmm. And that's still, they were supposed to leave next week, and still can't do that one.
So far, still no go on that.
They pushed that one off, so.
I have to say I have been risking it, but with no avail because I have drawn no days. So it doesn't even matter that I've been risking it because I have drawn nil. And I'm like, Utah has been hitting credit cards last night and this morning, so I've been logging on my app, praying for Utah, but it's been nothing there yet either. Nothing Montana the other day let me down. I really had high hopes for a tag in Montana. New Mexico, first time in 7 years, nothing.
That was surprising.
I was super surprised.
I didn't apply for that one. I was, kind of got lucky and got all my marbles last year, which was awesome. But there was 4 guys that we know of.
Yeah,
that
4 of us
talked to that were
nobody
all
applied
applying.
Anything.
Nothing.
I know, unbelievable. But my buddy down there said that it might be one of the worst, at least within his pool of people, worst draw years he's had. You know, so it might be just one of those years, man. Things go ebb and flow. It might be somebody else's time, which is okay.
Yeah.
So right now I'm waiting on Nevada, their stuff to come out. I still got to put in for Arizona, deer and sheep. I got to put in for yet, and then Wyoming, deer and antelope. And I haven't decided if I might just do points there. I'm kind of like, Wyoming's been, I don't know. So like that might be one where I'm like, you're rubbing off on me, and I'm like, yeah, might just put in for points. And then obviously South Dakota, we have all the big, I call it the big game stuff is due next week. The elk, the sheep, the goat.
Paper stuff's the 15th.
Yep. Online is the 20th, I believe. Don't quote us on that.
But I'm
pretty sure that's what it is.
I'm gonna say the 15th.
It's 15th for paper.
Okay.
20th for online. I think you get a few extra days.
Yeah, the results come out. The nice thing with that is you get your results usually that first week of June for those applications, and then after that is when the firearm deer, East and West River deer opens.
Yeah.
And muzzleloader apps open, so you know kind of if you drew one of the coveted elk tags, or you're lucky enough to draw a bighorn or mountain goat.
My buddy drew that bighorn sheep last year.
That was a stud.
And I got to go with him on that hunt. And dude, what a cool experience. And I kind of took it as like, I had this weird investment in it within myself of like, it's probably the only South Dakota sheep hunt I'll ever go on. And so I absolutely enjoyed it. It was like my own hunt. It was just, because I knew it might be the only time I ever hunt right there for a sheep. It was just such a cool experience. So I'm like, now I obviously wish I hope I draw that tag.
Oh, it'd be so cool.
So,
sometime,
pretty
20
amazing.
years down the road.
Dude, and even then, probably not. But we did see a tag increase in South Dakota this year for bighorn sheep, which was really cool. Because it's been 2 plus the auction tag for the last several years. Now it's 7 plus the auction tag this year. So really neat. 8 total tags, 7 for the normal guys like us. So they increased the tag allocation by 1 on the elk. Over on the very west side unit was 2. Now it's 3.
Badlands unit.
The Badlands unit's 1 still, which that's going on year 3 of that unit. So new unit's been opened recently, still 1 tag. But that tag did get opened up to the auction tag now this year. So most likely 2 sheep will be taken out of there. That's where the world record sheep got taken out of 2 years ago.
Yeah, that thing was awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing, dude. I got to hold that sheep. The skull, unreal heavy. It is stupid. It
was solid.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's truly an amazing animal. And then they reopened. They kind of split up. They opened up an additional unit out in the hills. That is kind of more of that around that Custer area, east of the other unit that's on the western Wyoming border. So they increased that western unit to 3 tags versus 2, and then they opened up 2 more tags in that other unit. And then they reopened the Custer State Park bighorn sheep tag this year, which hasn't been opened, at least in my application lifetime. So I'm 31. I started applying for all these hunts when I was 12, and I have 0 points for that. So it hasn't been opened in at least that long.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd have points for it. But my dad has like 10 or 12 points for that unit, which is cool because I'm like, yeah, it opens back up. He might definitely have a little bit more of an advantage of pulling that tag, which would be amazing.
And that's cool that those points carry over too, and they don't just start everybody back off at 0.
Yeah.
Those guys that did apply back then for it still have their points.
Well, that's kind of how the mountain goat in South Dakota was too. Is like it was only open those first couple years I could apply, and I only think I had like, a couple points, and then it was closed for years. And they just reopened it up 3 or 4 years ago. And so I only have 6 points for that, even though I've been applying for years because it was a closed application. But my dad's got max points. I think he's got 25 or 26 points, somewhere around in there. It's a lot for that. So I always feel like, well, at least he's got a little bit of an advantage. But then you actually run the stats, and you're like, man, it's all, it's pretty much all the same.
Or what do we figure?
Yeah, I think. Well, he's got 30. I think 35 or 30. Somewhere around in there, 35 or 36 years preference points for Custer State Park elk. There's only 7 tags. And it's kind of crazy. You run the stats on that versus my 15 points. And one is with 35 points, it's 0.004% draw odds. And with the 15 points, it's 0.006. It's still even if you have 2 points or 30 points, your odds are still so terrible that it almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of funny. People are always like, dude, I'm going to draw that sheep tag someday. And you're like, I hope you do. But statistically, I won't. You know what I mean? Because you think about, okay, I'm 30. So for the next 40 years of applying, you know, there was only 2 tags. So you take, 40 years times 2. There's only going to be 80 tags in the next 40 years of my life. And how many thousands of people apply? Like, chances are we won't draw that tag. And but
Yeah.
it's a cheap lottery ticket.
It is. It's something fun, and if you don't draw, you just get your preference points, and it's a way to donate to the
100% right.
The hunters are some of the biggest part for conservation, advocates.
So
and
important.
A lot of that money goes to, and that's why our pheasant hunting is so popular with the state. It brings a ton of revenue into the state, and residents are a small part of that, but the non-resident brings a lot of the revenue in.
Dude, you want to touch on something kind of neat, like you just said about how hunters are that main driving force of conservation. Like, you kind of saw this, and we might see a little bit more over the next month, depending on what all happens, but you see the meatpacking plants and stuff like that are closing, have closed down, some will likely have opened back up. But you're like, if there wasn't, and we see this in Africa, if there isn't value to the animal and protection to the animal, there's, there's only value for a short period of time in the meat, and then the animals are depleted, right? So conservation, having limitations, having the laws with the animals protects them, which provides them a great value, right? And when they have value, they're protected. But when there's no regulations on it, they only have limited value, right? And then you see numbers deplete. We see that in Africa. So it's interesting the way you see things now. It's like how important, because you saw, you see, is there going to be a meat shortage? Is it going to be hard to be able to buy, protein? So you want to, okay, cool. I'll just go out and shoot a deer and fill my freezer. Okay, well, everybody can go out and shoot a deer.
Yep.
Everybody go out. How long is that going to last? How long can you maintain that? So it's it goes to show you how important it is that we have regulations and have value long term for that animal.
Right, and there's a lot of outfitters, small towns that are mainly hunting towns in fall, that rely on that revenue coming in, and like we said, even other states that rely on that revenue, the small hotels that are booked all through hunting season just with hunters.
Yeah.
If that goes away, not only did this pandemic where we were shut down for a couple of months hurt them, but then you deplete them of that revenue, that's going to really bury a lot of them.
Yeah, and it's a huge trickle down because it's the state still received the money for the tag, the preference point, the application, wherever it may be, because they issued the tag out if they did. But where you're seeing the trickle down is, these outfitters already had dates booked for the hunt, and they, thankfully a lot of them hopefully had deposits that deposit can hopefully carry them through a rough time like this. But most of the time they already had that money spent because they use it to pay for all these different expenses that they have to pay, insurances, whether they buy landowner tags with that money, all these different expenses that they have. And so it really trickles down and affects them when their client can't come in and hunt and pay for the rest of their hunt with them and then get their tip. And then it really affects a lot of people. And you look at a lot of places that have, that's a viable business. Like Alaska is huge.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It affects a lot of guys. Like New Mexico, it affects a lot of guys. So it's crazy. The effect goes to everyone. Everyone. So it's nuts. But what hunts specifically? We're in May now, so it's kind of you feel a little bit of excitement. Summertime's here. It's right around the corner for the training aspect, which obviously that's my business right there. I love that. But also just that planning stage, which is you are infatuated with, and that goes right into the training as well. But what's your one hunt this fall that you're kind of all right, dude, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Whether it be an over-the-counter or a draw hunt?
I would say, well, obviously I would love to draw an elk tag.
Yeah.
I printed off all my sheets,
Uh-huh.
looked at where I was at, didn't apply, just looked at where I was
Did you?
all at.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, and 0, 0, 0, 0. I'm like, oh, this is...
How many points do you have?
6 and everything.
Okay, and so you printed them all out. What did it look like?
A lot of zeros. And then I added up. And granted, I got stuck in that...
So let's talk about it, yeah.
What was it, like 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, you can buy your preference points throughout the entire year.
Okay.
I was, quite a few years ago, I wasn't thinking about elk hunting in May.
Yeah.
So you don't think to apply, well, then you couldn't get your preference point.
Right,
So
you were
you're
missing
like,
out
oh,
on
shoot,
it.
You
Yeah.
missed out. Nothing you can do. So then, now that you can buy them till the end of the year, anytime throughout the calendar year, once it opens up, you can't just buy preference point already.
Yeah.
Like, until like the last draw.
Yep.
Except for elk. So they, then I was able to just get the points, and yeah, that would be awesome to draw.
That would be unreal.
But probably not going to happen. I'm really gonna.
Yeah. So hold on a second. So let's talk about how the elk application's set up. So you talk about okay, 6 points. I have 0. You're like 0, 0, zeros.
Mm-hmm.
It's truly not an actual 0, but it's staying close.
Yeah.
So the way it's set up, obviously we have different units in South Dakota you can apply for. Right? There's H1 through I think is it 7 for the Black Hills? H1 through H7, 7 different units around that. Okay. So somebody out there should be like, dude, no, it's 6, or dude, no, it's 8, but it's several units in the Black Hills. Obviously, we have some prairie units to apply for, but we're just talking Black Hills elk. And then, so from there, you pick whether you want to apply for that any elk tag or just a cow tag. But most people are applying for that any elk tag. So you pick what unit, and you're going to pick. There's separate applications for archery and rifle.
Yes.
But they're going to look really similar when it comes to when you saying I have 6 points and I'm seeing zeros. So they allocate. Only a certain amount of people can draw tags from 0 to 10 points, 0 to 9 points.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know if you can draw a tag unless you have a minimum of 2 points. I think you might have to have 2 points plus. I can't quite remember, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's set up.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's 2 points plus you have to in order to draw. But let's just say there's 25 tags in the unit given out. So they might only have a limit of 2 or 4 tags that if you have under 9 points that you can actually draw. And so once those 4 tags are eaten up by potentially under the 9 point pool of people, which Dustin would fall under, no more people can pull that tag.
No.
But most of the time, that limit doesn't even get hit by people because there's so many 10 plus point holders that usually you are only seeing 1 or 2 tags every year in the entire hills out of all the tags being pulled in single digit point holders. There was a guy, I think in H4 or H2 last year, maybe H2 or H3, who had 4 points that pulled one of the rifle tags last year.
Yeah.
Out of all that, and that was the only one I think in single digits.
But
I can't quite remember. All I'm saying is that if you have single digits, you're probably not going to pull the tag. It is literally 0.001%.
And that's the cool thing with.
But you can pull it.
Yeah. This is resident only too.
Yes.
That was one thing we didn't say. Elk is resident only for South Dakota.
Yep.
So that's the cool thing is you basically can print off the draw statistics. For each unit. So it tells you how many people applied, how many tags they have, where the tags are allocated, and then each number of points. It goes all the way down, and then how many people applied with that number of points.
Yeah.
So I added them all up. A lot of them were between 6,000 and 10,000 applicants for 50 to 100 tags. And then like you said, your 8 points and under, 10 points or 9 points and under only had a certain number of tags, and then most of the tags went to, which they should.
Yeah, 10 plus, you have a chance at all the tags. Yep. So the 9 and under, you don't have 4 tags allocated to just you guys. Those tags can be eaten up by the above as well, and most of the time they probably are.
Yeah, and that's all right.
They've been putting in for the longest.
Yep, you deserve it.
Yep, exactly.
No, so that was really cool. It's really neat to see that breakdown.
It's fun to see, especially like where you lie. You're like, okay, I have 15 points, and then you see like, oh, 320 other 3 guys applied with 15 points. Oh, nice, 16 of those guys drew. Okay, cool. Like, it's fun to be able to. I really like how the Game & Fish has that set up and available really easily for you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool tool to be able to utilize. I've really utilized it more so on the deer side.
Yes.
Especially this last year, we had a ton of changes in South Dakota on the deer side. You know, we used to be able to apply for all, I think, 7 options again. I'm probably messing up on my numbers today. I haven't reviewed stuff lately, but
used to be a lot.
But yeah, 7 different deer applications, different hunts you can apply for ish, and they made it so you have to pick 2 now. It's starting last year.
First choice.
Yeah, and it was a big change for South Dakota. I mean, we've never had a limitation like that, so it's a big change. But now it's kind of like it's fun to be able to dive into some of those changes and using those statistics to somewhat predict. The prediction's a lot harder now because guys are going to be adjusting what they're applying for year to year. So just because, okay, I saw a whole bunch of muzzleloader points get eaten up last year, it doesn't mean my muzzleloader tag is I have a better opportunity this year, because there's a lot of guys who we didn't see put in. So those statistics aren't going to be necessarily as accurate to judge like, oh, I have a 30% chance of pulling that tag with 3 points this year. Because there's going to be a lot of guys that have existing points that didn't put in for it that aren't included in the stats you're looking at. Mm-hmm. And so prediction-wise, it's going to get a little funky, especially for this first several years. We might be able to start having some trends over the course of 5 years, but even then, it's going to be tough. Mm-hmm. The prediction side is going to be a little bit tougher on the planning, but it also is a little fun to try to come up with your own little game plan that fits your hunting style and where you like to hunt.
Yeah, and that's the thing with preference points too. You can get preference points in for different tags, and kind of stack those up and just apply once you get a certain number of preference points.
Yeah. To at least have an increased value of drawing that hunt that year. So yeah, you can still get the points and then risk it all.
Yeah, but I mean, just like you did last year, 0 points in a unit and you drew your tag.
Yep, and that's not typical in that unit. And even, I look back at how many, the chance of doing that was slim anyway. Mm-hmm. And it was before. So, it wasn't that much different. But still, like, it might have been even harder if there might have been more. If that change wouldn't have happened, it might have been harder to pull that. So, it's interesting. And I'm one of those people that obviously, I really didn't like the change. I was against it, but I try to find the positives in everything I do. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. Nothing I can do about it. Find the positive. Find my own strategy. And that's the fun thing is when you start applying for these other states is finding your strategies. You know what I mean? And some strategies, some years is going to be, I'm holding off. I'm just getting my points. I'm not risking it. Some years is going to be, I'm putting in for high draw odd hunts that because I want to go. And some years, like this year for me, is I'm risking it on all these states, but I'm putting in for trophy units. Right. So I'm putting in for units that most likely I will never pull that tag. Like, just won't. But there's that small 0.5% chance that if I did and I'd pull it 10 years early, sweet, I will make the time to go do it. But statistically speaking, I have nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? So there's fun strategies like that when it comes to all the tag applications. So
yeah, getting back to your
question,
your original question.
We wormholed.
No, I'm probably just going to concentrate on archery this year. Yeah. Just because we've, pretty lucky with the September 1st start date, so we've got 4 months. So you can kind of sneak out when you can and be pretty fluid on your planning on when you can go, work it around family stuff and do it that route, and then just kind of probably bank rifle points this year and
just stack up some more points.
We'll see.
The nice thing is like with the archery is you can score a random Saturday afternoon, or you can, during that year, because we have that 4-month season where it's not like, okay, I have to, these are only my 4 days, or this is only the 2-week season. Yeah. It's like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I can score another day and a half over here if I need to, or I can make a day trip. Like, you don't have to be gone that much. That is the nice thing about that. That's probably my favorite thing, honestly, about that tag is the pressure is so much less versus some of the rifle tags or the muzzleloader tags. Like you look at some of the the refuge tags, like you have a very short 5-day season on some of those, and you're like that's some pressure built up right there, and you really have to plan. You're probably gonna take a full 5 days off of work for that hunt.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's definite benefits to that archery tag for sure. It's probably my favorite thing about it. So
what about you? What's your tag process? What's your one you're going after this year?
Yeah, so I actually already drew one rifle tag this year. So in South Dakota we have an early tag that you can put in for. It's called the Special Buck. There's an East River and West River. If you draw it, you have to hunt on private land.
Yes, private
which
land
is
only.
not... I've hunted a lot of public land over the last 7-8 years. So I've always just stacked points for that because I really didn't have any private land to hunt. But I made a friend a couple years ago. Go ahead.
You got to have landowner permission
Beforehand. You're supposed to have like you're like when you apply, you actually have to give the landowner name and phone number when you apply. So I've never put in for that, but I've always collected points because I'm like, yeah, what if I meet somebody? Well, I did. I made a new friend a couple years ago, but I still didn't ask. I just didn't want to push that envelope. But our friendship grew over the years, and this year I finally was like, I'm going to ask him if he'd mind if when they were done hunting, if I could have a few days to hunt out there. And I told him about the special buck points that I had, and so he was like, yeah, like you're more than welcome to. So I was like, cool. So I got to use my special buck points this year in the West River side. I applied and drew that tag. So that's going to be a fun hunt that I'm planning several day outing for. And I will get my archery tag for sure. I didn't spend hardly any time archery hunting last year, and so I'm really hoping I can carve out a few more. I have that. Last year I just didn't have the excitement for it, the passion. I put so many days the year before towards that hunt, and the year before that I had 2 years of just like smashing it. I mean, I had weeks invested in those hunts, and so last year was just like I went on like 2 days, 3 days, and I was like, I'm just not feeling this, and so I didn't waste much time away from home on that hunt.
You went out and it was foggy right away. Didn't have a very good look right away, and then Neil and I smashed 2 nice ones, and then
it was the opposite.
We're done.
Yeah, like only miles apart, which is crazy. But yeah, it was one of those years. So my excitement's already building up a little bit for this coming year. So I'm hoping to. I still have that Velvet Muley dreams, man, in my head.
So does everybody.
Everybody does, man. But
such a cool opportunity, though.
It's an awesome opportunity. I'm pumped, man, and I'm really gearing up this year. We're actually next week going to start promoting. We're starting an archery fitness league. So I haven't even told you about it. So we're filming a promo next week, putting it out. So Sioux Falls area, Canton, Harrisburg, T area guys, we're gonna be putting on it's gonna be a Wednesday night league. Come out and shoot, get a workout in. It's gonna be pretty fun, and so we're gonna be getting that going. It's gonna be like a 6 or 8 week program.
Sure,
so it'll be a blast. But just a way to get in some more reps, man.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
absolutely.
excited about. And just like spend some time with some guys, get the fellowship in. I think that's super key. I'm just finding as I grow a little bit older, is that that fellowship with other men and like other husbands, like specifically like husbands and dads, is like super key. And just to be gaining support from each other, be able to talk about different aspects of our life, because what one guy maybe hasn't gone through, the other guy has. Sure. And like we can really just support each other. I'm just finding that more and more as I get older. So I'm really excited about getting this league going this summer. Not getting older. Oh. No, my knees are yelling at me about getting older. About getting older, no. Yeah, so those are kind of the main ones. And then I'm just really hoping, like, if I could just trade off not drawing anything else. Like, I would trade off not drawing anything if my dad would just pull a Black Hills elk tag this year. Because he's got so many points out of the park, and he's got so many points in the park. I'm not really concerned about the in the park because the chances are just so low.
Yeah.
But I hope he pulls that, just the traditional Black Hills rifle tag this year. I would love to be spending the first week in October out in the hills.
Such a cool time out there.
Yeah, I really hope that happens. That's kind of my plan for the fall right now. Not having anything New Mexico for the first time in 7 years
opens up everything else.
It opens up everything else. So if I don't have any luck at the draw, I might just have a lighter year, and or I might plan an over-the-counter hunt somewhere. I obviously already have my license for Arizona for my applications, so they have some over-the-counter options. I can do late season if I want. And so, come January, if I haven't really done anything all fall, I might swing down to Arizona for the first time and maybe do a little archery hunting. New Mexico does have some over-the-counter options as well that I can go do. So if it's a light year, maybe I'll pick up an over-the-counter hunt and just have an adventure.
Always opportunities in Texas.
Yeah, dude. There's over-the-counter area, Montana. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's tons of things that if I want to go have an adventure, and maybe that's the type of year it's supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to plan something completely new, go have a new adventure, and plan out a week and go do it.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's what.
I'm pumped, man.
Yeah. What are you doing right now as far as, I know you said you're doing like the archery fitness type thing. As far as training wise goes,
yep.
I mean, everybody was kind of in the same boat, really going nuts. A lot of the gyms were closed.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know. It's like crazy. I had a lot of clients. So I had a client out in Arkansas that was like crushing it in the gym. And so a lot of my clients that I train remotely that are in different states, I had to write out, I was like, go order a set of dumbbells right now. So luckily most of them all got dumbbells.
A lot of them sold out. You couldn't get stuff.
Exactly. Luckily a lot of my clients all got some dumbbells and some bands ordered before it got insane. And so I've been actually for 8 weeks, a lot of my clients have been, in-home workouts, but this last week's been awesome because a lot of gyms have opened up and they're all getting back in. So my programming for them is adjusted again. For myself, it's kind of, I've been lucky. I train in a private training area. So I've been able to still hit traditional gym flow workouts. I just wrapped up what I call my off-season training. So my off-season, from January to now, essentially is I get back into, some hypertrophy, putting muscle back on, that the rep range is to put on muscle, a little less conditioning, just letting my body chill out. I did do conditioning up until our sheep hunt in February to stay in shape, but after that, all of February, March, and April, last 3 months has just been lifting. Mm-hmm. Once a week, maybe some metcons on faster paced, just to keep a little bit of. And then this last week, actually, today's my first day back on. You see the preseason mustache. That's when I'm getting serious.
Yeah.
I do it every year. So the first week of I call it my preseason, I always go stash mode because it's my serious mode. So I just finished up. I took a full week off after my off-season training. So I took off Wednesday till Tuesday yesterday. Full week off, just let my body be. I went on a couple hikes, did some fishing, but no lifting. Took a week off, let it be. And then this week, today actually starts what I call my preseason training. So I really start building up into some strength and power exercises, metcons for conditioning. I'm really working on just really conditioning my body, being powerful, building some endurance. It's kind of what I call it an undulated program. So I'm actually hitting hypertrophy, strength, power, endurance, all in one program.
Sure.
It's intense. Your body gets beat up from it over the course of a period, but I do have scheduled, rest periods from now till end of August.
Not trying to crush it.
Yeah, that last 3 weeks in August where I'm going into a hunt a lot of times, when I'm New Mexico elk hunting or going into hunt, there's ample days of rest in there as well because you are crushing it. You're getting in peak condition. It's getting ready for a track, if you're getting ready for state track or you're getting ready for an event, I look at it the same way as periodization, going into a hunt. So from May to August is it's an exciting time, and I feel new energy from it because that off season is fun. It's needed. It's fun just to lift weights and put on muscle, and now is the time to really use it, burn some fat, get lean. Mm-hmm. And really work on the conditioning. So that's where I'm at with my training, and a lot of my clients who are getting ready for hunts are going to start entering that same style. Yeah,
because like you said too, now guys are going to start figuring out what they drew, so you're going to be able to prep. I know your client that did the moose hunt last year.
Yep.
Different style of hunting than what we hunt around here. It's a lot of bogs, a lot of ran into snow. That's different.
Yeah, 2 guys had moose hunts last year, 2 different clients of mine, and I'm super glad they both trained because one ran into not having food because he got left on the plane.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, and so his was like a mental challenge. And so like, you know, the challenge he got from the training built his mentality. You know what I mean? Like, he's mentally strong anyway, but like, it prepped him for those moments. You know what I mean? And my other guy was an older client in his 60s who prepped for a moose hunt and, you know, hadn't really worked out ever before that and got in phenomenal shape over the summer. And he came back from that hunt and was like, dude, because the outfitter the whole time was like, oh, you just need to be able to climb like we told him about like our Great Bear, like how, you know, it's 170 feet incline, something like that. Mm-hmm. Not much. And his outfitter was telling him, like, that's all you're ever going to climb out here. Like, you won't even climb anything bigger than that. And Nate got back, and he was like, dude, I'm so glad you kicked my butt more than what the outfitter was saying I need. He's like, it was way bigger than what he said. You know what I mean? But those guys live in that. Those outfitters live in it, so it's not big to them.
Right.
But to a flatlander in South Dakota, dude, it's monstrous. And so, like, I always look at the prep of, no, you don't do the minimum.
You always go beyond.
You always go beyond because you want those experiences to be all positive memories and giving yourself the best chance of success and having fun. You know what I mean? And so he got back and like there was days I kicked his butt and you could tell he was like, I don't know if we need to be kicking butt quite this intensely. And I'm like, no, dude, trust me, like this is gonna be good. And he got back and he was like so thankful that he's like, we didn't overdo it. He's like, if anything, we could have even kept. He's like, and he has another moose hunt. He moose hunts every year, but like, because he has like some, you know, a territory up in Canada, but he booked like a big Alaskan moose hunt for another year down the road. So he's like, I'm like, dude, just stay in shape now. Like, and then when we get into, let's keep just working on your fitness. And then when we're 3 or 4 months out again from that Alaskan moose hunt in 21, you're going to be in such good shape that we can really ramp it up in those last 3 months. And you're not going to have an issue.
Right.
You know, like, why take a year off? Absolutely stupid. But now he's visualizing, you know, at first it was, I'm just going to train for 3 months moose hunt. Once he worked out and realized how great he felt, it became like, dude, I just feel better. Like, my wife says I'm so much nicer at home. Like, it's that kind of stuff that you realize, like, oh, I need to be doing this in general for life. You know, it's key.
That and, you know, we experienced it on the sheep hunt, and I did on my oryx hunt, and shoot, even archery this year.
Yep.
You know, you prepare for what you thought, but then as soon as you know, find the animal that you're going to go after, all that's out the window, and you're focused on that animal, and it's going to, all right, that's what I'm going to go after, and it could take your all your energy that you had stored up just to go after that one animal or that one stock, or it could be miles. I mean, we walked across the top of that, hiked up a mountain.
Oh, dude.
Looped all the way around the top of that mountain, you know, 500-600 feet elevation straight up.
Yeah, I mean, and that was a 15 mile day on day 3.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and if I'm not saying like you can't get through that if you didn't train. A lot of young guys can. You will get through that. It's not going to be that fun for you that night or the next day.
The next day, yeah.
You know what I mean? As for us, you train for it, and I'm not saying this arrogantly at all. I'm just saying, like, with proper preparation, you don't think of it any differently on day 4 as you do on day 1. You don't really feel much different. Like, if you're hydrating well, if you've worked out, like, yeah, cool, day 4, sweet. Day 5, sweet. Like, let's roll. Day 6, sweet. Let's roll. Like, there's just so much, and that's the fun part where I always have talked about since day 1 of Run2Gun is you're just ensuring positive memories. Yes. Like, you don't have those memories of just like, dude, I was so sore and it sucked and like, bleh. You know, like, just ensure the positiveness all the time. Like, suffer through the summer so the memories are just awesome. Like, and on some hunts, there's no way around it. You're going to get sore. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. Some hunts are just that intense.
A lot of guys that do like the horseback stuff that aren't on horse.
Yep. Oh, dude. Right? Oh,
jump on a horse or a mule and start doing that plus hiking and
I mean, and that's okay. Like, I tell my clients too, like, they come in after some hard training and I'm like, how you feeling? You know, then we explain, we evaluate the situation, they're sore. I'm like, great. Like, that's good. Like, especially as we're prepping for, like, people that are prepping for hunts or prepping for, like, like, if I'm prepping them for a triathlon or an Ironman or something, I'm like, we have to get you to where you are training when you're sore at times, because you have to learn to be able to push past that discomfort. You have to be able to deal with discomfort and pain and some agony and still accomplish what needs to be accomplished through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the point of, like, there's times in summer when I'm training for a hunt, and I train legs 4 or 5 days a week, you know, with everything else. But it's like, I want my legs to be so conditioned on a hunt, because that's what you're doing legs every day on a hunt.
Yeah.
You're hiking rough country. So it's like, I condition my lower body, my wheels, to do that. You condition it, it's no different. You know what I mean? So it's like, but it's just remembering that it's okay that you don't need a day off just because you're a little stiff, a little sore. Hit some extra mobility, hit some stretching at the end of the day, push through it. You know what I mean? As long as you're not getting injured.
No, that's,
you know what I mean?
No,
like,
that's
as long as
the
you know
worst
your
part
body.
is if you're pushing too hard,
Yep.
push to an injury,
Yep.
and then you got other muscles that are going to start compensating.
Right.
Yeah,
you
then
still
you run into a whole different aspect.
Exactly. You still have to be smart with the training. That's where, you know, a great trainer comes in. Obviously, it's invaluable to have somebody great watching and periodizing for you and making the adjustments on the fly. That's why I love writing programming, but I'm talking with my people frequently because adjustments have to be made within programs. It's just way of life. They have to be, because you're not always going to feel like, and I tell my people, like, dude, if you're wrecked one day and I have something built in the periodization for you, like, if it doesn't feel good, like, after you've properly warmed up, because we go through a big warm-up, and you've done some light movements, like, this doesn't feel good, you skip it. You know, if you truly don't feel good doing it, don't do it, because it's going to lead to an injury. You know what I mean? So there has to be smart play with it as well. But most of the time, 98% of the time, you're actually probably fine.
Yeah.
You have some other areas coming into play in the mind, so
Yeah, mentally.
is the biggest game.
Yep. Absolutely. You can always find a reason not to do more.
Every time.
Or to just do the bare minimum.
Exactly. And if you get in that habit of doing it, really hard habit to stop breaking.
Yes.
Extremely hard than anything.
Anything in life. Yeah, if you just want to do the bare minimum or not finish what you start.
It's common, man. It's common. Like, dude, it's so cool. And we'll have to get into this in another podcast because I'm going to talk for an hour. We should talk about. I don't know if you've been watching the Last Dance doc.
Not a huge basketball fan.
Right.
But it's great. Like, it's really neat to see.
And I'm like college basketball player, love basketball, grew up MJ fanatic.
It's a really cool girl sport.
Dude. Yeah, it is. They're amazing. But yeah, I mean, to watch that, you talk about like the mentality side of things, like different level.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have to talk about it in the podcast.
Yes.
I mean, but just, yeah, it translates in those people. You even watch like any of the CrossFit documentaries now, like Matt Fraser, the guys who are at the top, the guys who are at the top and they're at the top for a while, like Matt Fraser in like 2016, I think it was 2017, like you watch the doc and he's like, he already won going into the last day. He could have placed like terribly, and one guy could have won every single event. It wouldn't matter because he was so far ahead in points, and he went out and still like crushed. And in the last event, he was like already ahead, and he's like, yeah, I could have paced myself and just, you know, made sure I finished the event. He's like, but and they're interviewing him, and he's like, but I just wanted to destroy everyone. Like, these guys have like people who are at the top, like MJ and like
Tiger
these guys,
Woods.
Tiger Woods, like Kobe Bryant, like the guys who are at these massively elite levels. Their mindset was like, I'm not just gonna finish it. Like, yeah, I can just finish. No, it's like, I'm going to finish that because they're competing with themselves. Like, I'm going to finish at my best, and I'm going to make sure my opponents know that that's how much better I am, and it's going to either going to discourage them for their training for the whole next year, or it's going to motivate them to train harder, and then which is going to motivate me to train harder.
Yes.
Like, their mindsets are absolutely like a beautiful thing to watch. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're definitely watching it at the station with all the guys and all, get different viewpoints on it too, and it's just neat to see just that drive, and that's you know, you can take back to whatever you do. If you have that much drive in something, holy cats, you're gonna definitely succeed.
Dude, I can't remember where it was. One last thing to finish the day. It was, I can't remember what paper or online source this was, but they did like a poll, and it was like, they compared yourself to Michael Jordan. And it was like, you know, in what you do you have as much talent as Michael Jordan? Do you have as much drive? And like a very high percentage of people said that they had the same amount of talent, which was like super interesting because it's like, okay, if you have the same amount of talent, but you don't have to drive, what are you doing? Or are you completely delusional to think that you have that much talent? Because like MJ had a combination. He didn't just have work ethic. He had to have natural, God-given, like, to do what he did. A lot of that's, he was born that way. And then it was a combination of a massive work, like, it's a combination of everything. And so it's like, it's just funny watching people respond like, okay, you believe you have that much talent in what you do. Okay, where's the drive? Or I don't have that much talent, but I have drive. Like, or is there delusion in everything? It's just, people are interesting. That world is, it's neat to look at that. I just love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because he is like the epitome of talent, drive, motivation, like,
yeah, it's impressive.
and mindset. It is. That was good, man. We just talked it out. It's been a few weeks since we've gotten together.
Yeah, quarantine's got us all antsy to get out and do something and talk. And
Yeah, I'm glad you got to come over, man. First, I've done some episodes, but they've been on like Instagram Live. So this is the first episode again that's on the camera, down in the podcast booth, rocking.
yeah, and
good to be back.
Got some ideas for some other stuff that's gonna be rolling out. Might be doing a few hunting stories.
Yes.
Just something to quick hunting stories, just something to listen to, something to break up your day, break up your drive.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing that, and we're also wanting hunting stories from you guys. And so we want to get you guys on the podcast, and we can do that even via Instagram Live. And they're gonna be like 10-minute stories. So we'll jump on with you. We'll let you ramble for 10 minutes, tell your favorite hunting story, and we'll kick it on the podcast. So if you want to be on, drop us a voice memo here on Anchor, or you can just message me on Instagram or Facebook, on the Run2Gun pages, or send me an email at jordan@run2gun.com. We want anybody and everybody.
Well, and it doesn't have to be, hey, I shot this giant Boone and Crockett deer. It could just be a cool hunting story with you and your family member.
Exactly.
A cool outing that you had, something cool that happened while you were around there.
Yep.
Or just
Really fond memory of yourself.
yeah, just something to break up your day. You know, everybody's day. Something to quick listen on the road.
Exactly. It's going to be a fun summer on the Seeker side of things. We have some fun stuff rolling out this summer, a couple different new products. So be on the watch out on that on our social medias. That's going to be really fun, some unexpected stuff. So just be on the watch. We'll get out some cool things for you. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Hope you have a great rest of your day.